Hey! What's going on, kids? Pastor Jacob here with another life group lesson. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today, we're in 2 books of the Bible. That's right, 2 books. We're in 2nd and 3rd John. Now, both of these books are super small, but they pack quite a punch. Yeah! They come after the book of 1st John and before the book of Jude. I think this is a good time to use your table of contents. So I want you to take a minute and find the books of 2nd and 3rd John. 2nd and 3rd John are written by the same John that wrote 1st John. He was a disciple of Jesus. Remember, that means that he actually walked and talked with Jesus. John was writing to some of his friends because he wanted to remind them to walk in truth and walk in love. John loved talking about love. If you were with us last week, we talked about how God showed us love by sending Jesus to die for our sins on the cross. If you didn't get a chance to see that video, go back and check that one out. Now though, John is telling us how we can walk in love just like Jesus. John wrote to his friends in 2 John 4-6. He said, "I was very glad to find some of your children walking in the truth in keeping with the command we have received from the Father. So now I urge you, dear lady, not as if I were writing you a new commandment, but one we have had from the beginning, that we love one another. And this is love, that we walk according to his commands. This is the command, as you have heard it from the beginning, you must walk in love." John was so excited to hear that his friends were obeying God and walking in love. John knew that there are people who had stopped listening to what God said and they taught things that were not the same of what Jesus taught. And that made John very sad. John wrote these letters to his friends to encourage them to keep following God's commands. John reminded them that we are supposed to love one another. In 3rd John, his friend Gaius had been doing just that. There were people traveling all around trying to share the gospel with everyone they met. And Gaius made sure that they had a space for those travelers to stay and rest up so that way they could keep on going out and sharing the gospel. In 3rd John verse 4, John writes, "I have no greater joy than this, to hear that my children are walking in the truth." Nothing makes Jesus happier than seeing us love people like he loves us. Our memory verse this month really talks about this. So let's go ahead and jump into our memory verse. Do you remember what our memory verse is for July? Our memory verse is 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. So, if you're just with us in 2nd and 3rd John, all you need to do is just turn back a couple of pages and you should be able to find our memory verse. Let's practice our memory verse together real quick. Little children, we must not love with words or speech, but with truth and action. 1 John 3:18. Okay, now I know some of you may be wondering, Pastor Jacob, is this verse saying I can't tell people I love them? And no, that is not what this verse is saying. Just before this verse, John was talking about how Jesus showed his love for us by dying on the cross. John is trying to tell us that we need to do more than just say, "I love you." If you remember from last week, we talked about how love is a choice. It's not just a feeling. Our memory verse is supposed to remind us that we need to choose to love people with actions and not just words. So imagine this. You're playing with your friend or your brother and sister, whoever, and you're running around and you're playing tag. And you both are running just super duper fast. You're the person that's it, and you're catching up to your friend, and you're just about to tag them when they fall. They scrape their knee up really bad. Now, you love your friend, right? Are you just going to stand there with your friend's scraped up knee and tell them how much you love them and that scraped up knee? No! You're gonna run and go get help. Get an adult and a Band-Aid and make sure that they feel better. You're going to love them with action. Now, after you go get the adult and Band-Aid, you can sit there and tell them how much you love their scraped up knee and all that. That's what God teaches us in this verse. When we see someone in need, when we see someone hurting, we don't just love with words, but we also love by doing something. I want you guys to keep practicing your memory verse this week. Go back to the hearts that Miss Emily had you make last week in craft time and keep practicing and hiding this verse in your heart.
Hi boys and girls, it's craft time! I hope you all have had a wonderful week. This week, Pastor Jacob shared how we can walk in truth. This means that John wrote this letter to encourage people to follow Jesus. So I thought we could make mailboxes to remind us about John's letter. To make a mailbox, you need 2 pieces of paper, some scissors, tape, and markers. First, you need to cut 1 piece of paper, hamburger style. So you can fold it and cut it just like that. Then you need to cut the second piece of paper, hot dog style. Just like that. So now you have 1 hot dog paper and 1 hamburger paper. Next, you need to fold your hot dog paper twice. So there's 1 time. We're gonna fold it 1 more time. Just like that. So this is the bottom of our mailbox. Now you'll take the other paper and wrap it around it and tape it together. Just like this. Okay, boys and girls, I hope this reminds you all about John's letter. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye!